Welcome to the Deep Dive. We are so thrilled you're joining us today because our mission is specifically designed for you.
Absolutely.
We are going to transform you from someone who just kind of, throws casual requests at an AI screen into a master architect.
Right, which is a massive leap to make.
Totally. The goal is that by the end of this conversation, you will never have to settle for those vague, mediocre, slightly frustrating AI outputs ever again.
It really is a critical transition for anyone using these tools professionally, and we actually have some highly actionable source materials guiding us to make that jump today.
We really do. Our stack of sources is incredibly focused. We're looking at the Master Prompt Architect free guide from AI365.blog.
Yeah, great guide.
And we are pairing that with this truly insightful article by a digital productivity strategist named William. It's titled, Why Your AI Responses Are Mediocre. 5 lessons from a master prompt architect.
That's the one.
And right out of the gate, William drops a quote that completely reframed how I look at my own daily workflow. He writes, "The most expensive waste in the modern enterprise isn't underutilized software. It's the vague output generated by professionals."
Ouch. Yeah, that hits hard.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because he is basically arguing that when a tool like ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini gives you a lackluster response, the limitation isn't the AI's intelligence at all.
No, not even close.
It's the lack of a structured architectural blueprint provided by the human sitting at the keyboard.
That observation demands a fundamental mindset shift from the user. I mean, if you are treating these large language models like a standard search engine...
Like just Googling something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Meaning you just type in a query and passively hope the right answer pops out. If you do that, you're basically misusing the underlying technology.
Wow.
So today's about shifting that perspective. We need to stop managing AI like a search bar and, start managing it like a high-performance cognitive engine.
To really grasp that shift, I think about an analogy. Imagine for a second that you need a house built, right? You buy a beautiful plot of land, you hire a crew of the most skilled construction workers on the planet, and you back up a dump truck full of top-tier materials.
Like wood, glass, steel.
Yeah, marble, you name it. Then you just walk up to the foreman and simply say, "Build me a good place to live," and you just walk away.
That is a recipe for disaster.
Right. When you come back a month later, you are probably not going to find your custom dream home. You might find a perfectly functional, completely generic concrete box. Or, maybe just a really well-organized pile of bricks.
Yeah, the raw talent and the resources were there, but the outcome failed because you skipped the architecture.
Exactly.
You didn't provide a blueprint. William actually calls this the vague output problem in our sources. Most people ask the AI a very general question, they get an intensely average result back, and then they just walk away falsely concluding the AI isn't that smart yet.
Which is such a common frustration.
Yeah.
I hear people say all the time that AI writing sounds like robotic or generic.
Well, it sounds generic because of the mathematics governing the model. I mean, these systems are incredibly capable, but they're also highly literal probability engines.
Right.
If you ask a generic question, the mathematical probability of its training data dictates that it will give you the most generic, middle-of-the-road answer possible. It basically averages out the vastness of human knowledge into this bland paste to ensure it isn't technically wrong.
Okay, I want to push back on that for a second, just on behalf of everyone listening who is tired of typing and wants technology to make their life easier.
Fair enough.
Isn't the whole point of artificial intelligence that it's supposed to be smart enough to figure out what we want without us holding its hand? Like, if it has read the entire internet, shouldn't it just be able to infer what a good blog post or a good email looks like without me giving it a masterclass in architecture?
I mean, it's a totally fair expectation based on how AI is marketed to us. But if we connect this to the bigger picture, expecting the AI to read your mind is exactly what leads to that expensive waste of time William talked about.
Ah, I see.
The paradigm shift outlined in our sources is crucial to understand here. You have to stop acting like a consumer asking a search engine for a favor. A consumer is passive, right? They just wait to see what the algorithm serves them.
Right, like scrolling a feed.
Exactly. Instead, you need to step into a builder mindset. You are a director managing a highly capable, literal-minded specialist.
A director.
Yeah, a film director doesn't just put Oscar-winning actors on a stage and say, act.
No, they give them notes.
Right. The
Yeah.
director provides motivation, scene blocking, emotional context, and pacing.
That makes perfect sense. You're not asking a machine a question. You're directing an entity to perform a highly specific task. So, if we need to act like a director, what do those specific instructions actually look like? If we aren't supposed to just type, Write me an update on the project. How do we build the blueprint?
This brings us to the core methodology of the source material. It's a non-negotiable foundation for high-level prompting called the CRAF framework.
Crafty.
Yeah, it's an acronym designed to ensure you are delivering a deterministic, repeatable blueprint to the AI, rather than just spinning the roulette wheel and hoping for a lucky output.
Let's actually build a prompt together using Crafty so the listener can see how this transforms a standard request. Let's say I need to write an email to a client who has been with my agency for 5 years, but they are currently frustrated because a major software project is delayed.
That's a perfect scenario. So if we start with the C in CRAFT, that stands for context.
Context.
Most people skip this entirely. They just say, write an email apologizing for a delay. But context is where you feed the AI the landscape of the problem.
So instead of a generic apology, I would tell the AI, this client has been with us for 5 years. They are historically patient, but are currently frustrated because our software project is 2 weeks behind schedule due to a third-party server migration. We value this relationship highly.
Yes. And notice how that instantly changes the stakes for the AI. It now understands the history and the specific obstacle.
Okay.
Next is the R, which stands for role. We will dedicate a deeper dive to the mechanics of this in a moment, but essentially, this is the specific expert persona you want the AI to inhabit.
All right, so I'll assign the role of a senior client success manager known for de-escalating tense situations with empathy and clear action plans.
Perfect. Then we move to the A in CRFT, which is action. This is where a lot of prompts fail.
Oh, this is where I always used to mess up. I would use really weak verbs like think about or draft. The guide emphasizes using precise verb-driven commands. So my action would be analyze the server migration delay and synthesize a 3-step recovery plan to present to the client.
The specificity of analyze and synthesize is key. It forces the model to perform cognitive labor rather than just generating filler text.
That is so helpful.
Following the action, we have F for format. This is heavily underutilized. How do you actually want this information structured?
The sources offer some fascinating options here. If I don't give a format, the AI defaults to those standard chunky paragraphs.
Right, the wall of text.
Exactly. But I could ask for a markdown table if I need to copy-paste this into a company wiki. Or I could ask for a JSON file.
Oh yeah, JSON is great.
For the listener who might not be a developer, JSON is a lightweight format used to store and transport data. If you ask for JSON, the AI strips away all the conversational fluff and gives you clean data that a software engineer can plug directly into an application.
By dictating the format, you control the AI's processing structure entirely. For our email scenario, you might dictate a format like structure the email with a brief, empathetic opening, a bulleted list of the 3-step recovery plan, and a closing question to invite their feedback.
And finally, we reach T, which is target. Who is the ultimate audience?
Yeah, who is reading this?
Right. The audience here isn't just the client. The target is a busy executive who appreciates directness, dislikes corporate jargon, and needs to feel reassured that we have taken control of the server issue.
That's a solid prompt.
CRAFT. Context, role, action, format, target. There's actually a testimonial in the guide from a content creator named Sarah M. She describes going from getting these incredibly vague, unusable responses to generating complete, polished blog posts in a single shot.
Yeah, a single shot.
Yeah. She actually stated the CRFT framework alone is worth its weight in gold.
Well, it's effective because you are pre-solving the ambiguities that cause an AI to hallucinate or generate fluff. You're basically boxing out the mediocrity before the AI even generates its first word.
I want to circle back and drill down into the R in that framework role. I was genuinely surprised by how much weight the AI gives to just one sentence about its identity. Why does telling a machine who it is completely alter the text it generates?
Our sources refer to this as role-based prompting, and they describe it as a high-performance filter. When you assign a professional identity to the AI, you are dramatically narrowing the parameters of its response.
Okay, give me an example.
Let's say you ask, how do we improve our software? A general AI will give you a list of platitudes, make it faster, make it look nicer, add more features.
Super generic.
But if you begin the prompt with, you are a senior SaaS product manager, you force the model to prioritize industry-specific logic.
Oh, it changes the vocabulary entirely. Suddenly, it stops talking about making it look nicer and starts talking about reducing user friction, analyzing churn rates, and optimizing onboarding retention.
Exactly. To explain the underlying mechanics of why that happens, we have to look at how these models actually store information. It triggers a process called latent space activation.
Latent space activation. I love diving into the actual mechanics of this.
Mhm.
Walk us through how latent space works in this context.
Think of the AI's training data, which is essentially the entire internet, as a colossal, multidimensional map of human knowledge. That vector map is its latent space.
Okay, a giant map.
Right. When you ask a general question without a role, the AI drops a pin right in the exact center of that map. It pulls from the most generalized, commonly repeated concepts available.
Makes sense.
But when you say you are a senior sauce product manager, you are handing the AI highly specific GPS coordinates to a very narrow, specialized corner of that map.
Here's where it gets really interesting.
Hmm.
It activates a targeted subset of its training data while simultaneously calibrating its tone to match that specific profession.
Exactly. It applies an expert lens, ensuring it looks for the technical nuances that a generalist persona would just naturally overlook.
It's like a mental shortcut for the user.
Yeah.
I mean, if you need a high-level strategy, you don't have to spend hours researching the terminology yourself. You're essentially hiring a temporary elite consultant for $0.
It really is.
You just have to know how to summon their expertise by explicitly naming their role.
It is mathematical probability harnessed with absolute precision. However, this immense power brings us to a crucial and somewhat counterintuitive lesson from Williams' article.
Uh-oh, what's the catch?
If assigning a role and giving the AI an open field of expertise makes it powerful, we have to address how to keep it from going completely off the rails.
Okay, I'll play devil's advocate for the listener here. If we want the AI to give us its best, most creative ideas based on that expert role, shouldn't we give it as much freedom as possible? Like, it feels backward to hire an expert and then put them in a box.
It feels backward to human intuition, sure, but we are dealing with predictive algorithms, not human minds. The misconception is that absolute freedom leads to creativity.
And it doesn't.
The reality, as the source material highlights, is that restricting an AI actually makes it significantly more useful. Because LLMs are fundamentally predictive, taking the path of least resistance usually leads them to generate verbose, generic text.
So freedom equals fluff.
Absolute freedom leads to fluff. You have to define not just what the AI should do, but put up strict guardrails detailing exactly what it must not do.
Wait, so by boxing the AI in, we actually get better writing. How does that work in practice? Let's apply those guardrails to the real world. We've given the AI our CRAF blueprint, it knows its role, and it has the vocabulary. But how do I stop it from sounding like a sycophantic corporate robot? It always wants to use words like synergize and
Yeah.
delve.
Oh, delve is the worst. That is exactly where you apply the first guardrail, negative constraints.
Negative constraints.
This is explicitly stating what to avoid. Instead of just hoping for a natural tone, you add a definitive rule. Do not use corporate jargon, passive voice, or the words synergize and delve.
Wow.
That single sentence forces the predictive text engine to reroute away from those highly probable but deeply annoying buzzwords.
That makes a huge difference. But even when I strip out the buzzwords, if I ask for a summary, it often still spits out a sprawling 5-paragraph essay. How do we rein in the actual volume?
That requires the second guardrail length constraints, and you cannot use subjective terms like keep it short or make it concise.
Because short is relative.
Exactly. The AI's definition of short might be 500 words. You must provide hard mathematical boundaries. The text gives a brilliant example. Limit the response to exactly 3 bullet points of no more than 15 words each.
Oh, I can see how that works. That forces the AI to essentially edit its own thoughts. By starving it of physical space, it can't hide behind pleasantries. It has to rank the information and only give me the absolute most critical data point.
Precisely.
Okay, so we've eliminated jargon, we've locked down the length. What about the actual texture of the writing?
For that, we use stylistic guardrails. This is about tuning the complexity of the output to match the target audience perfectly.
Give me an example.
Well, if you are drafting a company-wide memo regarding a new HR policy, you don't want it to sound like a dense legal contract, even if the AI is playing the role of a lawyer. You add a constraint like, ensure the output is written at a 10th grade reading level using conversational, accessible language.
Combining those 3 negative, length, and stylistic constraints is an incredibly potent toolkit. You're basically building an electric fence around the exact answer you need.
You really are.
But this brings up a major hurdle. This fine-tuning works beautifully for an email or a short summary. What happens when the listener needs to execute something substantial? I'm talking about a sprawling, multi-step project, like scoping out a new software architecture or writing a comprehensive 2,000-word marketing report.
This is exactly where the vast majority of users hit a frustrating wall. They try to take a highly complex project and force it into a single monolithic prompt.
Just copy-pasting the whole thing in.
Yeah, they type out their Sharpen framework and say, write my 2,000-word comprehensive market analysis.
And we all know what happens next. The AI starts out remarkably strong for the first 2 or 3 paragraphs. The tone is right, the data is good. But by paragraph 5, it completely loses the plot.
It starts repeating itself.
Yes. It forgets the negative constraints, the jargon creeps back in,
Yep.
and it might even start hallucinating facts.
To understand why that happens, you have to understand a concept called attention degradation.
Attention degradation. Okay, explain that.
As the AI generates more and more text, its context window, which is basically its short-term memory, fills up. The further it gets from your original prompt, the less computing power it devotes to those initial guardrails. Its attention degrades.
Wow, it just gets tired.
Essentially, yes.
Yeah.
To maintain high-performance output on complex tasks, you cannot ask for the final product all at once. You must utilize a structural strategy called prompt stacking.
Prompt stacking. So instead of lazily asking for a 2,000-word report in one massive prompt, you chain multiple prompts together in a precise sequence. Like, instead of asking for the finished house, we are asking the AI to build the foundation, then inspect it, then build the framing.
That's a great way to visualize it. It's the modular workflow mentioned in the sources.
Walk us through a hypothetical example of how this modular workflow actually plays out for that 2,000-word marketing report.
It is a deliberate, structured progression. Prompt 1 is strictly foundational. You do not ask for any drafting. You ask the AI act as a chief marketing officer. Generate a highly detailed 6-part structural outline for a market analysis report, including specific data points needed for each section.
So you review that outline, adjust the logic if needed, and lock in the skeleton of the document before any actual writing begins.
Exactly. Then you move to prompt 2. You tell the AI, focusing solely on section 1 of the approved outline, draft the executive summary. Limit the response to 300 words and do not use passive voice.
Oh, I see.
You are focusing the AI's entire computational power, its full attention mechanism, on just one specific, manageable segment.
And then you just do that for section 2, section 3, all the way down. You are essentially acting as an editor of AI-generated components, rather than a frustrated proofreader trying to fix a massive 2,000-word hallucination.
Precisely.
Once I have all 6 sections generated individually, what is the final step in the stack?
The final prompt in your stack is the synthesis and polish. You feed the completed, approved segments back into the AI in a fresh context window and instruct it, review these 6 sections, apply our brand voice guidelines, ensure smooth narrative transitions between paragraphs, and verify that all formatting is perfectly consistent.
This modular approach allows for granular quality control at every single step. There's actually a really compelling story in the social proof section of the sources from a user named James T.
Oh, the software developer.
Yes, exactly. He explains that by adopting this prompt stacking methodology for his technical documentation and feature scoping, he is literally shipping features twice as fast. He isn't working longer hours. He's just eliminated the time he used to spend untangling the AI's mistakes.
Because he is treating the AI like a high-performance engine, tuning each individual part of the manufacturing process through iterative refinement.
And it proves that the secret to mastering these tools isn't locked behind a paywall. Another user mentioned in the sources, Rachel K., a digital marketer, specifically noted that she had purchased extensive $200 prompt engineering courses that did not teach her half of what this free architectural blueprint covers.
It really highlights a vital truth for the listener. The advantage doesn't come from paying for beta access to some hidden proprietary AI model. The advantage comes from mastering the structural methodology of the tools that are already sitting right in front of you.
So, what does this all mean? If we synthesize everything we've explored today, the Kafrash framework, the power of latent space activation through roles, setting rigid guardrails, and building complex outputs through prompt stacking, the ultimate benefit for you, the listener, is profound. The true ROI of prompt engineering isn't just getting a neat piece of text to show your boss.
The real return on investment is measured in hours of your life reclaimed. It is about eliminating the endless, deeply frustrating cycle of typing, sighing, and reprompting.
Nailing the output on the first or second try is the ultimate modern productivity hack. If you can get the exact, nuanced analysis you need in 3 minutes, instead of spending 45 minutes wrestling with a generic output, you are suddenly operating at a completely different, elevated level of efficiency. You get your time back.
This raises an important question regarding the future of our digital tools. Whether you are currently using ChatGPT, Claude, Microsoft Copilot, or whatever newly branded model drops next month, the underlying AI landscape is evolving at breakneck speed.
Too fast to keep up sometimes.
Yeah. The specific interfaces will inevitably change, but these architectural principles, context, constraints, and modular building, are universal. Mastering this builder mindset is the vital bridge between treating AI as a fun, occasionally useful novelty and leveraging it as a serious high-performance engine for your career.
It really is the dividing line between being replaced by the technology and leading your industry with it. And I want to leave you, the listener, with a final, slightly provocative thought to mull over as you close out this deep dive.
Oh, let's hear it.
For centuries, our educational and professional systems have validated human intelligence based almost entirely on our ability to memorize information and provide the right answers. But if artificial intelligence is rapidly mastering the heavy lifting of executing tasks and providing those answers instantaneously, perhaps the future of human work won't be about having the right answers at all.
Wow.
What if the most valuable human skill of the next decade isn't answering, but architecting? What if the true, irreplaceable competitive edge is simply knowing exactly what questions to ask and exactly how to structure them?
It shifts the core value of the human worker from rote knowledge retrieval to strategic direction. You transition from being the laborer laying the bricks to the architect designing the skyline.
From the person staring blankly at a pile of raw materials to the person confidently holding the blueprint. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the mechanics of prompt architecture. We highly encourage you to take the CRFT framework and those negative constraints for a spin in your very next AI interaction. Be the director, set the boundaries, and watch how the machine responds. Until next time.